all about money mindset. We're going to get a little wooey here. I'm going to actually take a second. We're going to set the scene. I encourage you to do the same thing. If you have a candle or maybe you have some incense, I'm just going to hang out here, light mine. I have a cute little cauldron that I'm going to put my incense in. I already have my beverages back there, so grab whatever you need, pause this, come back to it. Now we've set the scene. Big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose again, and out through the mouth. Last one, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Oh, that always makes me feel so much better. I always forget it. Okay, I want you to take a moment here, and I want you to think of a word or a feeling that you associate with money. You can think of more than one word, but at least one. Is what popped in your head empowering? Does it feel restrictive? Something like greedy, freedom? Is it abundance? What comes to mind? What do you feel? I want to talk about holistic finance because this whole course, my entire ethos, what I'm doing is fusing the two. So I know we've had a lot of really actionable steps that we've covered, but I want you to really link your financial health with your overall well-being and your values and combining the energetics of it all. And something that I had frequently caught myself saying was, we want to bring the manifesting and the abundance and the gratitude practice and the grounding and the nervous system regulation and the tarot and the astrology, the human design, whatever works for you, whatever you like, whatever systems you feel really good with. We want to bring that in and have actionable, tactical, strategic steps that we're taking. So you're going to have a gratitude practice and you're going to calculate and pay your quarterly estimated taxes. You're going to pull tarot cards and you're going to make sure you have the right business entity set up for you. And those things merging together, the merging is where so much of this magic is, so much of this unique creation is. So when I think of holistic finance, that's what I'm thinking of in so many ways, but also in tailoring it to you and your unique needs, your unique desires, and who you are as an individual person, as a part of the greater collective. So I want you to think for a minute here. And when it comes to understanding holistic finance, what's one aspect of your financial life that you wish you felt more aligned with when it comes to your personal values or your energy? And so I'm going to share one here for me, one that I had been wanting to feel more aligned with my personal values was I kept wanting to incorporate this wooier, witchier, gratitude side. And I kept feeling like I had this wall, that was keeping them divided, keeping them separated. And my financial life was very left-brained, very methodical, very, you do this, you do accounting, you do taxes, it's math. These are the things that you're doing. And then over here on the personal side and on my values, I'm, getting a witchy tattoo and I'm reading tarot cards in the morning and I'm doing these things, but I'm keeping them separated. I'm not showing up online with them. And that was something that for me, I felt like wasn't aligned and is something that over the last year I've been working to incorporate and really reconcile within my financial life. Something that I really love to do, especially when I'm having a moment of scarcity or overwhelm or anxiety or panic. Yes, I've been in business for 10 years. Yes, these things do still flare up. I always tell the story of every year when July pops up or November pops up and we have a slower month, I go into a little miniature spiral of like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I should be doing? Am I a failed business owner? What's going on? And I've circumvented that now in the last couple of years. I have a reminder on my calendar that says, hey, remember, this happens every year. You're doing great. And I have planned for those months. I either have time off or we have a fun project or we have something that we're doing and it feels really good. But one of my favorite projects when those things start to creep in, or favorite practices, is I like to really get intentional when it comes to my spending of my money. And that doesn't mean going and constricting everything, right? Because I'm reviewing my spending every quarter regardless. I'm checking in on subscriptions. I'm making sure our team is still using things. I'm making sure there aren't lingering items that we're paying for. I'm reviewing the contractors we're working with. I'm reviewing our clients and our prices. And that's part of that like tactical and strategic side, right? What I'm doing when I have moments of anxiety or moments of panic or moments of worry pop up is when I go to pay a contractor, I go to pay our graphic designer, instead of worrying about it and stressing about it, like, oh, this is money and like not feeling good around the energy, I think of one, the beautiful work that she does, how much I appreciate that, and how grateful I am to be able to support business owners that I want to see succeed, that are doing good, that care, that have good hearts. And I pay that bill. Same thing when I go pay my quarterly estimated taxes. I get, ho hum, fee fi fo fum, like be so sad or angry or upset about it. And like, don't get me wrong. If you're not working with someone that is making sure you're not paying more in taxes than you need to be doing, you should do that because I'm not here to make you feel obligated to like overpay your taxes. But when it comes time to pay taxes, if you're paying taxes, it means you've made money and you're still paying less than what you made. And if you're paying more than you paid last year, it means you made more than you made last year. And those are things to celebrate instead. Those are things that you get to pay because you made more money. And I find that it doesn't take too long for little practices like that to make a really big difference in my business, in how I show up, and in my personal mindset. So, again, how can we view these with a lens of gratitude? And how can it change your approach to them? And then I want to close off with this because something that comes up for a lot of the clients that we work with, and I talk about it a lot on the podcast, and I talk about it in a lot of my one on one conversations, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of embarrassment that can come up. One, in accounting and finance, but two, when you're a business owner. And I want you to think of the time you made a financial decision that you ended up regretting. I have one. I have more than one. And what stories have you told yourself about what that means for you as a business owner and a decision maker? Are those actually true? And I want to give you an example. So maybe sometime you got really busy and you hired a contractor spur of the moment to come help you. And maybe it blew up. Maybe it was a failure. Maybe you didn't have the time to train them. Maybe they weren't the right person. Maybe all the above. And maybe you told yourself that it meant that, you can't outsource anything, you can't hire, you're gonna be in this alone. All of these things. Are those actually true? Do they have to be true? Or could it be that maybe you needed to be a little bit more specific in who you were looking for? You need to be a little bit more realistic in the time frame that you were bringing them on. Maybe you didn't have the capacity to train them. I know I've done that. This is a real world example when I brought someone on. Maybe you ended up buying a course or buying coaching that didn't work for you, that you either didn't show up for, that the coaching style didn't work for you, that you didn't have time for. Maybe you thought you were going to have time and then you didn't. That doesn't automatically make the course or the program, a crappy course or a program. It just means it wasn't right for you right then. So what are the lessons? It also doesn't mean that you're a bad decision maker. You made a decision with the information you had. How are we going to use that information to course correct in the future? Does that mean you should never buy another course or another coaching or another anything in the future? Probably not. Does it mean that there's something you can learn from it? Maybe again, you purchased it during your busy season. Maybe the coaching style didn't work for you. Maybe the formatting didn't work for you. Maybe, and this is where I got to at a certain point, maybe you're at a point where you shouldn't be learning how to do it all, and you should be hiring something to do these things for you. And I know that I felt like I definitely had some wasted money because I'd been in the DIY, learn it, do it for yourself, figure it out. And then I got to a point where I was like, oh my God, I bought this. I've wasted money on it. I don't have any time. This is so stressful. Like, what a waste of money. Blah, blah, who am I to like be teaching people about their money and like wasting this, right? It wasn't wasted. It was a teaching experience, a learning experience, a growing experience. The other thing that I've had from things like this is every experience you have, whether good or bad, gives you takeaways for your own business and personal experience. I give an example of I had when I first launched my podcast, the organization that was hosting it did an amazing job onboarding and a lot of the day-to-day stuff. But when I went to offboard, there was no offboarding process. And so I just let them know the payment stopped and that was it. And it left me just kind of feeling like, oh, okay. But there were takeaways for me for our clients. Like, how can we bundle this up? Because had that offboarding experience been great, there's a chance that I would have come back. It just wasn't right for me right then and there. I was too busy and the podcast wasn't a priority at the time. And so I wanted to take a break. And it just, with no support. And so that was really helpful for me in seeing that from the consumer side. So on the flip side, and to wrap this on a positive note, I want you to think of an experience where you made a confident financial decision that positively impacted your business. How did it feel? What did you learn from it? I know that talking about these and sharing about these and being in a safe space where you don't feel quite so alone, I kind of feel like a therapist some days. I hear a lot of the same things repeated regularly, and I can guarantee you that someone else shares it.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Wealth Witches podcast. I hope our magical money talks have left you feeling empowered and inspired. Remember, wealth isn't just about dollars in the bank, it's about abundance and financial freedom in all aspects of your life. I'm Katelyn Magnuson, encouraging you to keep challenging the status quo and embrace your inner witch on this financial journey. Until next time, stay magical.